Guest1337 got a rework. During this rework, he got reworked. Anyways, yeah, so basically Guest got reworked, and I'm gonna be giving my thoughts on it because I have a pretty long time playing the game. So Guest rework. Guest got nerfed. That's my take on it. Guest pretty much got nerfed throughout the whole thing, getting HP decrease. His charge does less knockback. His parry does less damage, and that's pretty bad. Because not only does Guest stun less time for other survivors to get away, it's just bad and all for his survivability. But the developers did mention how they wanted Guest to have less survivability. So to compensate for that, basically they gave him overheal, and now his parry does no but knockback. And honestly, that's actually a really good thing. Guest being able to heal himself means that he'll have some survivability from before, but he'd also be able to actually use his punch for more knockback if it's a parry. If it's not a parry, a regular punch is basically useless style, since little knockback and no stun damage, which is just useless. An alternative they could have done is just give it a 1 second stun time, but even that would have been more helpful than just a singular punch, which honestly does nothing. The changes for charge were reasonable. All it really did was get rid of any effects that happen afterwards once they connected to a killer, or any effects that happen to Guest, so that's fine. Punch, though, having a 60-second cooldown just doesn't really make any sense. It should at least be halved, or maybe more, in my opinion, because that punch barely does anything, especially since it has no stun, which should grant it the lower cooldown. Parry was the only reasonable thing that got reworked, since more knockback also means more distance for any survivor that you tried protecting. But once again, it really just comes down to whether or not they're being put in the situation to where they're actually being chased and trying to help somebody out. And in that case, it's not really effective for Guest to have a longer knockback, other than there's a chance that you might save someone. Regardless, when it comes to actually helping people out, Guest has significantly became better at that with his parry, but his punch being not giving any stun time really just contradicts what they were trying to go for. It makes sense that if you get a parry or if you get a successful block, your cooldown lowers, but even then your punch doesn't get stronger. Your punch stays the same, where it's just a little bit of knockback with no stun time, which is something I think the development team should at least change. Where if you get your block, not only does your cooldown go lower, but at least if you try saving it, the punch stays for at least an extra 2 seconds, or at least 1 second, since parry is 2.5 seconds. All in all, I guess rework was really just the developers trying to change him to be more supportive, which did work, but they're also contradicting themselves by making Guest punch less usable for himself, which in itself makes it less usable for the team if Guest is really trying to protect them, since it means that risking your life now is even more of a risk. Actually, that sounds stupid. Risking your life is now more high risk, high reward, which is a good thing in itself, but it also makes Guest a little bit more susceptible to having his blocks predicted, since killers don't have to really worry about the no stun time punch because it's only a little bit of knockback. And if they are guarding a survivor, killers are going to know that you're going to try to get your block, which just makes it where Guest is in a position that just seems worse that he was left on. As much as Guest is technically better as a supportive role, he just worsens as a sentinel and worsens as a survivalist. So now Guest is really just a Sentinel who's supposed to be a support, but doesn't even do his job that well, other than having to get a parry that does give good knockback, but requires an almost predictable parry, since the punch is barely doing anything if it's just giving a little bit of knockback, which is good, but it's put in this position where you're not really given a good option whether you go back to old guest or new one, since this new one is worse off as a survivalist and a sentinel, but is potentially a really great support, while the old one would just be a lot more selfish. So as well as the guest rework is good for in itself, it's just really contradicting what it's meant to do, since all that guest is being put through is a position where he's just worse off than he was left, even if it is healthier. As for the overheal, that's another thing within itself. Guest being able to heal himself and be sustainable is good for his survivability, at least. Regardless, I don't think they should have done this change, or at least everything except parry being changed. That should have been well. My opinion on all of this, if you're gonna keep this new guest, nerf punch cooldown, make it so if you get a block, you can store that block and get a regular punch just in case you don't want to parry. Keep parry the same. Depending of how overpowered his overheal is, either nerf it or just keep it the same. Guess losing only 5 other extra HP is reasonable. His charge is reasonable, but everything else, Guess kind of just is in a position where he just doesn't ever seem like he's going to be in a good place for this community or the game. Though I do believe that this decision is healthy and is going to help out the game in the long run. But anyways, that's enough about me talking. Go watch the actual successful YouTuber. I'm just trying to talk. I don't know, bro.